Hi everyone, Purple Celery here. Welcome back to my channel. It has been a while since my last video, and the simple reason for that is just that it's been a while since the last Doctor Who episode. But tonight I'm back to review Power of the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's last episode. I'm going to start by talking about the things that I liked about this episode, then move on to the things that I feel perhaps could have been done differently. Then I'm going to end with one thing that really bugged me about this episode, but I'll get to that last. So going into this episode, I was actually a bit worried. I knew that there'd be a lot of characters, a lot of villains, the Daleks, the Cybermen, the Master. I knew there'd be like a lot of storylines to wrap up. I was just worried that it'd be a bit of a hot mess. And you know what? Yes, there was a lot going on in Power of the Doctor, but it was all, I guess, integral to the plot. I'm actually hard-pressed to think of any one element that I could take out that would make the story better by having that element removed. I particularly loved the Master in this episode. Sacha Dhawan's portrayal is just so funny. That scene where the stolen paintings were revealed and the Master had inserted his face into all of those famous paintings, that just made me laugh out loud. I also love just how petty this Master is. The way that he told Kate Stewart, "Oh, your dad was weak." I mean, come on dude, that's just such a low blow. Also, I thought the Master's motive for trying to regenerate into the Doctor made a lot of sense. On one level, the Master has always been envious of the Doctor, and on another level, the Master has also wanted to dominate the Doctor. So having him try to become the Doctor, to me, made perfect sense. Moving on now to Ace and Tegan, the companions from the 1980s, I was worried going into this episode that they'd be a bit like Captain Jack was in the New Year's Eve special, or what was it called, The Prisoner of the Jadoon. I was worried that like Ace and Tegan would be a bit underutilised, but I felt like they weren't. They were integral to the plot. They did help to save the day. I also loved how both those characters got some closure with their respective Doctors. Tegan with the Peter Davison Doctor and Ace with the Sylvester McCoy Doctor. Speaking of Ace, I feel like next to the Master, Ace got all the best lines. When she said to the Master, "Last time I saw you, you were half a cat," again, that just made me chuckle. That was great. It was also really cool to see other cameos, in particular the other older Doctors. That was totally unexpected. It was so cool to see that. I also loved the support group at the end where we saw old characters going way back to Ian Chesterton from like 1963. Was not expecting that. I just love the whole concept of these old or former companions just, you know, meeting to support each other and share their stories and their time with the Doctor. That was great to see. And also the Ruth Doctor as well. She was awesome too. Always love to see the Ruth Doctor. I also love the little callbacks to Jodie Whittaker's first episode. It's funny how her first and last episodes both open with a train. Also, like, you know, seeing the goggles, that was also really cool as well. And that scene with Yaz and the Doctor at the end, sitting on the TARDIS, looking at planet Earth, eating ice cream, that was just so lovely to see. And I really felt the pain that both these characters were feeling at the prospect of the Doctor regenerating. And personally, I just felt unexpectedly really sad to see Jodie regenerate. I wasn't expecting to, I guess, feel as sad as what I felt. Having said that though, the Power of the Doctor wasn't a perfect episode. One of the things that I guess got me a little bit about this episode was it was meant to be Jodie's last episode, and yet we didn't actually see that much of her Doctor. I mean, she kind of featured as a hologram, but the real 13th Doctor spent most of this episode just chilling out in limbo land, where the Doctors go in between their regenerations, the Edge or whatever it was called. I felt in a way she was overshadowed a little bit by all the different returning characters and villains. On a similar note, Dan was quite underutilised in this episode. I mean, he was there for like the first 5 minutes, then he basically disappears until like the last 5 minutes. which was a shame because I've grown to like Dan a lot. In particular, I've grown to love the dynamic that he had with Yaz. So it was a little bit disappointing to not see him for the vast majority of the episode. Another thing too was explosions. Is anyone getting a bit tired of all the explosions in Doctor Who? It feels like in all the recent Doctor Who episodes there has been explosions, and I just wonder if there's sort of like a different approach that they could take as opposed just to blowing things up all the time. There were a few scenes that felt a little bit rushed and confusing. I mean, even now, like half an hour after watching this episode, I still can't quite recall whether it was 1916 or 2022 that the volcanoes exploded. There were some scenes that were a bit exposition heavy, especially that scene with Graham underneath the volcano. I also wondered too why the Doctor didn't simply choose to regenerate in front of Yaz, because the Doctor has previously regenerated in front of companions, so I'm just wondering why on this occasion she chose to do it by herself. Anyway, those things are fairly minor in the scheme of things. I feel like in this episode the good definitely outweighed the bad. And now I'm going to come to the thing that bugged me about this episode, and there is a major spoiler alert, so if you haven't seen this episode, be it on your own head. Here goes. When Jodie Whittaker's Doctor regenerated into David Tennant's Doctor, why did her clothes change too? Like, that's never happened before. How can that happen? Normally the Doctor regenerates, but they keep the same outfit. I don't know, it just like really bugged me that like Jodie's costume changed into like the suit and tie that like David Tennant's Doctor was wearing. Like, why? My partner has a theory that because the Doctor is regenerating into a previous incarnation of the Doctor, maybe the clothes somehow automatically change too. I'm not convinced how much sense that makes, with apologies to my wonderful partner, but I don't know, maybe we'll get an explanation in the next episode. Overall, I would give The Power of the Doctor 8 out of 10. As I said, I think it was a pretty good episode overall and a really fitting finale to Jodie's tenure on the show. Anyway, these are just my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Like, do you feel sad? Are you relieved? Are you really happy that Jodie's era is over? Please leave your comments in the comments section below. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. I will try not to leave it so long in between videos. I know I said that last time, but I do mean it on this occasion. No doubt I'll be back soon with either a Doctor Who related video or another one. Anyway, as always, thank you so much for watching. This is Purple Celery, over and out.